Man, I already feel like an asshole. I don't know why. I've always been pretty annoyed with the term pantser. If you're unfamiliar with this term, it's used by some writers to describe a fly-by-the-seat-of-your-pants kind of writer. This is someone who doesn't outline where they're going as they're writing, as opposed to a plotter who plots out each step. I don't know if this pantser term annoys me just because the word sounds stupid, or maybe because I feel like I arrogantly own the market on all pants-related references. I think really it's because I think many people fit between this pantsing and plotting stance. The idea that you're one or the other is a bit limiting. My conversation with Kristen Forbes in the Creative Turn podcast episode last round got me thinking about this middle ground. First, let's listen to her nuanced take about how she writes, which is between these two worlds, I think.
Whenever I start anything, I don't fully know what I'm doing. I really do just start and then see where it goes and then see what connections that I'm making. I do have this really long quotation that's like taped to the back of my front door, and it's from the Sun magazine, and it's a quote from the Sun editor basically saying,
"I'm looking for a writer who doesn't know where the sentence is leading her, a writer who starts with her obsessions and whose heart is bursting with love, a writer sly enough to give the slip to her secret police, the one with the power to accuse and condemn in the blink of an eye. It's all right that she doesn't know what she's thinking until she writes it, as if the words already exist somewhere and draw her to them. She may not know how she got there, but she knows when she's arrived."
Like, ultimately, no matter what I'm doing, whether it's fiction, nonfiction, whatever, I do always know the ending. And so I think that the ending is always my starting point, whether it's an essay or a novel or whatever it is. I know the ending. Wow. And then from there, I figure everything else out. And sometimes that's a lot easier said than done.
This makes sense to me. Just enough direction not to get lost, but not too much so that the story doesn't have an organic energy coming from the writer's excitement and fear and discoveries. I'm really fighting through finding the right balance while working on my novel. I've overplotted one draft that was really dry, and I've underplotted another draft that didn't go anywhere. One of my mentors in the MFA program, Leonard Chang, who's now a writer for the show Justified, had some incredible advice to his students about writing a novel. And one of his suggestions is about plotting out your novel in just 10 steps. At least I think it was 10 steps, maybe it was 20. But I love this notion that you don't really know, all 500 things that happen in your story, but you roughly have a direction that is subject to change at any moment. Anyway, that's my campaign to debunk this whole pantser and plotter stereotype. Or else, if you want another name to replace those two names, we could use the word plantser. Oh, before you leave me again, I want to animate one other great thing that Kristen said about an author she loves named Chad Simpson. Just in case you haven't listened to the audio podcast, I should say that I tease Kristen about sleeping with her Chad Simpson books, but in the discussion we talk about how we both have a problem with putting things in our bed to combat loneliness.
I'm such a Chad Simpson fan. Like, I don't know if you'll cut this out. But,
this sounds good. This is a keeper already.
Story. But like, I got it in my head that I just love this writer so much that I'm gonna buy 10 copies of his book, and then I'm gonna just give it to whoever wants it. And so I put up this thing on Facebook, who wants this book? And I got some responses, and then I just held on to it for 6 months. I had him sign the books, and I had them I had people asking for it, and there was just I just now gave away
were they in your bed for your next essay?
Yes, no. I read sleep with my Chad Simpson books.
Thank you. Come again.